It's been 20 years since I graduated high school. Tonight's the big 20-year class reunion. Do I look like I've been out of high school for 20 years? Okay, never mind. I answered my own question. If I'm not mistaken, this right here, this was Mrs. Tomlinson's geometry class. And now it's a science lab. But okay, this class, I was never very good in geometry, and I'd always protest, why do I need geometry? I'll never use geometry in all my life. And she'd always smile at me and say, wait till you get older, you'll be glad you did this. And you know what? I still never use it. But the real reason why I came down this hallway was to find a locker. 1, 2, here, right here. This locker, this was Stacy Bell's locker. She was my best friend in high school. She introduced herself to me when I was in 7th grade. She like picked me out of a crowd, it seemed like. But you know, we became friends. I mean, we shared everything together. We were supposed to bring pictures of high school memories and stuff like that. Okay, I brought a picture of me and Stacy at our senior prom. I know I look like Harry Potter. But if there was one person that I could see at this 20-year reunion, it'd be her. She changed my life in some ways. I'll never forget her.
I'll never forget that day. I was walking down this hallway and I dropped my books, right? I mean, they went everywhere and everyone's just walking by and I'm trying to pick them up, and you can imagine me bending down to pick up books was a whole production. And this pretty blonde girl was standing about right here at her locker. And all of a sudden she looks down at me trying to get the books, and she's like, let me help you with those. And I'm like, okay, you know? She picks up my books and looks at me and she's, hi, my name is Stacy. And I'm like, hey, I'm Dennis. She's like, how about I carry these to your next class for you? And I'm like, how about you do that, you know? So Stacy carries my books to class. By the time we got there, I think that I know everything about her because she's just talking and talking. And then she sits my books on my desk and starts to walk out. And I'm thinking to myself, well, good for you. You did your good deed of the week, you know? And then she turns around. She goes, hey, Dennis, I've got a great idea. Some of my friends and I are going roller skating tomorrow night. How about you join us? And I'm like, yeah, I don't do so well on wheels. She kind of laughed and she said, it's okay, I will help you. I said, okay. So that next night, I find myself at a roller skating rink with Stacy and her friends. I don't know who was more scared, me or the guy I handed my money to and said, size 9.5, please. And I sat on the side while Stacy and her friends were roller skating for a while, but it felt good just to be part of a group. And then Stacy skates over out of nowhere and says, Dennis, come on out and skate. And I'm like, no, I'm cool. And she's like, no, come on. I'm like, serious, She goes, come on, I will help you. I was like, okay. So Stacy helped me out on the roller skating rink. You should have seen everybody's eyes. I just looked at him and said, it's okay, I'm a professional skater. But with Stacy's help, I made it all the way around the skating rink twice. It was so awesome. As Stacy was dropping me off at my house that night, she said, Dennis, I got another good idea. Tomorrow, my family is having a cookout and going swimming. Why don't you join us? And I was like, yeah, this body don't float, you know? She said, it's okay, I will help you. I said, okay. So there I was that next day, standing in the shallow end of Stacy's pool. It was like, wee, you know. Stacy started laughing. She goes, Dennis, the shallow end's no fun. Come on in the deep end with me. I was like, no, it's okay. She goes, no, come on. I was like, no, I'm cool. She goes, Dennis, come on. I will. And I stopped her. And I said, I know, you will help me. But she did. She held out her arms and helped me float in the water. It was so great. After we'd finished swimming, we were eating, and she was telling me her dreams. I tell you, I really believed that girl could change the world. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, she turns the tables on me. She looks at me and she says, hey, Dennis, tell me about your dreams. And I'm like, well, I don't really have any dreams. She goes, come on, everybody's got dreams. And I was like, no, not me. And she just kept persisting, and I got so frustrated with her. And so finally, I looked at her, and I said, okay, you want to know my dream? I'll tell you my dream. In my dream, these old hands, they are no longer crippled. And I can pick up things and throw things, and it's no problem. And in my dream, my hip is right in place, and I can walk and run and jump just like everybody else. And I said, in my dream, I don't need these old glasses to see anymore. And in my dream, my mouth is normal, just like everybody else's.
And I'm just like everybody else. But then I realize
it's only a dream. We sat there in silence for quite a while. And then Stacy looked at me, and I'll never forget what she said. She said, Dennis, that's the dumbest dream I've ever heard. And I was like, well, you sure know how to make a crippled guy feel good. And she said, no, Dennis, you don't get it. You were fearfully and wonderfully made. And I looked at her and I said, no, Stacy, you don't get it. I'm a joke. And she just shook her head at me. Dennis, God does not look as man looks. She said, sure, man looks on the outward appearance, but God looks on the heart, Dennis. And you have a great heart. I like to think she was right. I hope I do have a good heart. I know she had a great heart. And that girl changed my life.
You know how I said there was one person I want to see at this reunion? Stacy? She's not here. She's not coming. When I think about her, I think about Galatians 6:10. She epitomizes this. Therefore, as we have opportunities, let us do good for all people. She was just good. She found opportunities to love God and love others. I use her in the past tense because Stacy, she died in a car wreck our freshman year in college. Jesus gave us visual in Matthew 10:42 when he talks about kindness and compassion. It's almost as if you give a cup of cold water to somebody. That's what she did for me. She gave me a cup of cold water and she pointed me toward God. She did it for me. She did it for a lot of people. She had a bumper sticker that said, my life is dedicated to saving your life. I'm part of her legacy. So much so, I'm still talking about it 20 years later.